Awake Shop by Rev Skip. Inspiration you can wear. Visit the Awake Shop and help change the planet. 10% of all proceeds will be donated to organizations that make a difference. Go to awakeshop.org today.
You're in the flow with Rev Skip and Chad Bradford.
Faith, love, openness, and willingness. You're in the flow.
Subscribe, like, and share. Spread the love.
You're in the flow on the New Thought Media Network. Hey everyone, and welcome to In the Flow right here on the New Thought Media Network. I am Rev Skip.
And I'm Chad Bradford.
Yes, you are, my brother. Yes, you are. If you are listening or you're watching for the very first time, we invite you to subscribe, share, spread the love, because we are in the flow. And when you're in the flow, we talk about faith, love, openness, and willingness. Have faith, transformation can happen. Love yourself through the process. Be open and willing to have a new experience. You're in the flow right here, New Thought Media Network. What's up, my brother?
Oh my gosh. I'll tell you what's up. Right now, we are just finishing our tech week for our production of Macbeth at the Studio Theater here in Little Rock, Arkansas. And so we open tonight.
Oh my goodness!
We're so blessed today. We've got Our Lady Macbeth on with us today. So
yes, she's going to be a great guest. Later. I'm looking forward to it. You know, the funny thing is because I think of they have the three witches, and we're going to do some tarot card reading, and we're going to get down with Halloween, and it's like, I'm loving today. This is going to be really, really awesome.
Yes. I'm so glad that. Thank you. I'm so glad she's here. It's been a different process this time around because, lots of times you get into these kind of situations and it's you're going and you're pushing through. And just because of, the kind of work that you and I do together, Skip, and just kind of trying to see things from a different lens rather than pushing through, I've really tried to surrender, really tried to transcend rather than push through. And I think it's made a difference in my mental health.
Right on. Congratulations.
Thank you. But you're traveling right now. You've got a different scene behind you.
This is my mother's house in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I'm broadcasting live from AC, my mama's house, which I love. My mama's house is dope. Look, I'm looking behind here. I'm looking at all the goals and the lights and the stars that come through. I'm going, I want to broadcast from here, from my mother's house every week because it makes me look good. It makes me real good. Hey, brother, it's better than being in that garage. We were doing this show from my garage for But good things come from the garage, right? Good things come from garages.
So true. Yes. Yeah, I remember in one of your early books, one of your first ones, there was a poem, I think, about your mother's cooking that I'm remembering now as we're talking.
Yeah, my mom, man, she not so much now because she's at that age where, my mother's 88. So she even said to me the other day that, the next time you come and visit me, I'm not cooking for you. I'm like, Mama, you have cooked enough for me for a lifetime. You don't have to cook another meal for me again. So tonight we're going to take my mama out she loves to go to this place called Hibachi Grill. I don't know if you've ever heard of Hibachi Grill. And we're taking her to Hibachi Grill tonight. My brother, my sister-in-law, my niece, and my mama. And we're going to celebrate a Jennings family dinner because tomorrow I get on a plane. I'm heading to Fort Lauderdale to begin my position as associate minister at CSL Fort Lauderdale. And that's very exciting.
That's
one
thrilling.
One thing I'm going to talk to Courtney about is that my housing is still not fully in order yet.
Yes.
So the lease has been signed between me and the landlord, but the HOA, Home Association, the Home Owners Association, has to approve me, and they have not
Yes. Yes.
approved me yet. So we're waiting, and I was thinking I was moving in November 1. Actually, it might be another 30 days before I can move into the place I've signed the lease on. So it's been one of those times where you just surrender, you let go, and you let God. And that has been
Hmm.
where I've been the last few days. And it's been a challenging time for me, but I'm in the flow. I'm in the flow
Yeah.
with you, brother. So all is right in the
Yes.
world.
How are you keeping your
All's-
your equanimity through all that, Skip?
yeah,
And you're
well, I've
moving, and
been
there's yeah.
Yeah, my car arrived yesterday in Fort Lauderdale. It's at my senior minister, Dr. Chris Michaels, and I'm so grateful for him and his leadership. And the car is right there in front of his house. And he texted me when it arrived, and I said, "Oh yes, Shaniqua," because that's the name of my car. Is Shaniqua. Shaniqua has arrived, and she's there. So I just need to catch up with Shaniqua, and my belongings are in a truck, and it's heading from California to Fort Lauderdale. But talking about the blessings of God, I get 1 month free storage for all my things once it lands in Fort Lauderdale. So I am grateful, and I'm also recognizing that in all of this, the totality of God is happening. All of this is happening right now. So I am so grateful for that. But I want to get back to Macbeth because this is a
Yes.
powerful time. Can you tell me just a little bit of why Macbeth and how did it come from you? You knew you had to do this.
Sure, yeah. I feel like it all came to pass, without much effort on my part, which is always means
Mm,
that, you need to kinda jump at it.
right.
It's a show, of course, it's a story that, I've known and explored for years, but, have always wanted to explore in a kind of a different way from a perspective, that's more akin to the kind of world that you and I talk about. What is this world of light and our shadow self? And so rather than Macbeth being a story about fate and is there free will in the universe, it's more of a story in our production about faith. We're really emphasizing this idea uh, that the prophecies that are given to Macbeth are all true. The witches aren't trying to
Mm,
trick him. They're not
hmm
trying to do dastardly things at the beginning
hmm
of the show, but it's because we get to see Macbeth make choices about the prophecies rather than being bewitched. He encounters these witches as almost light workers who are telling him truths. And the real
Yeah.
tragedy is what he decides to do with these truths. And so
Mm,
that's the perspective that we're exploring. Our witches are not in pointy hats. It's not they don't have warts on their noses. It's
I
not
love
that kind of
that.
thing. Right. We're really coming at it from a different perspective and watching these characters be humans. Really what I wanted to see
Yeah.
is the humanity in these people, that I am Macbeth. I am Lady Macbeth.
Yes.
I
Yes.
get to
Yes.
watch my shadow self make mistakes on stage, and it's really that practice of empathy which is
Mm.
is the art of theater.
Yeah, and you're directing and producing, and you've created this that has come out of you. What was your biggest lesson you learned as you're producing and directing Macbeth for yourself?
Mm.
What was your biggest aha moment?
Allowing the messages of the show to resonate in my personal life.
Ooh,
There
yeah.
is a line in the play, that actually our guest today, as Lady Macbeth says, she says she hears the prophecy. She says, "I feel the future in the instant." So
Mm,
trying to pull the future towards you rather than I always ask them, what would happen if Macbeth and Lady Macbeth had time, took time to be in the present moment and to sit with it? And so whenever I've encountered challenges throughout the process, and anybody that's ever done theater or put on any kind of big production knows there's always challenges that come up. Rather than trying to feel the future in the instant,
yeah.
trying to sit with it and trying to be grateful for all the good things that are happening.
Oh my
And
goodness,
just
that
again, it's opportunities to surrender.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So why don't we take a look? Because I know you have a little treat for us. Let's take a little bit of. Let's look at it. Let's look at a little bit of.
Listen, it's Halloween. It's spooky season. It's time to come out and see a ghost story. And that's essentially what Macbeth is.
It's romantic. It's full of sword fighting. It's ghosts and murder and witches and mayhem and chaos.
Thought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more. Macbeth does murder.
Always a great opportunity to see it again and see it through other people's eyes and to see it through the lens of today.
Nor heaven peeped through the blanket of the dark to cry, "Hold!"
If you want to come see a Shakespeare play that you're going to understand and get emotionally involved in, then this is the one.
What? I'm like, that is so dope, man. And I was teasing last week going, it ain't black people in Macbeth. You got some black people up in Macbeth, yo. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for bringing the chocolate spirit to Macbeth, yo.
I mean, that's in all seriousness, that's super important, is to make sure that the kind of life we have on stage represents our community, and our community is full of different people of different walks of life, and we want to represent that on stage. Like I said the last time, though, it is funny. Many of the people of color I reached out to are like, "I'm sorry, I'm booked."
There you go.
which is I love, you know.
Oh my goodness, that is so amazing. Congratulations, my brother. And
Thank you.
I'm excited, and I hope you're recording this, and I hope it will go out and stream. And you know, you can sell tickets to the streaming of this. You just stream it through Zoom, and you just sell some tickets. I'll be the first person to buy a ticket, and I'll stream it online with you, brother. That was amazing.
Love
and
it.
before we get into our show today, I just want to acknowledge our people who've been following us for a while, who's been sending us love letters to the stream. Janice, we welcome you. Wayne, we welcome you. And everyone else. And we know that we have supporters for In the Flow, and we recognize you, and we thank you for your constant support. Chad, are you ready to get down with the get down, brother?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
And now it's time for our wellness wake up.
All right, everyone. Our wellness wake up is about intention. And this actually comes from my book, The Little Book for Big Transformation. So I write this. It all begins with an intention, which then takes the form of a goal. So I love the idea that Dr. Wayne Dyer has brought to us. And, you know, before he made his transition, he wrote an incredible book that really changed my life, The Power of Intention. And he talked about the intention having these 7 faces. And these faces, which I also call qualities, divine qualities, but the faces of intention that he calls is expansion, it's love, it's creativity, it's abundance, and it goes on, but there's many, many, many more. And he says intention is not what we intend to do, is the energy we use to manifest our life. And I live by that. So when we start with intention, we want to start with the divine quality of love, a piece of oneness. My intention is to have more love in my life. My intention to have this more peace in my life. My intention is to have more health and wholeness in my life. And I'm going to set a goal from my intention. The intention is always about getting us moving, but the goal is about the end outcome. So we don't want to set goals first. We want to start from intention. What do you think about that, Brother Chad?
One thing that I love about your work, Skip, is that you are very specific in what you say. Intention brings about the goal. It's our primary purpose, our mission statement, our ability to say, this is what I do. I am here to serve. I am here to encourage. I am here to inspire. Those can be some big, big intentions. And then from that, we find our goals. You know, there's I can't remember who said it, but somebody said, generality or being vague is the enemy of all art. This idea that if we're just kind of doing stuff, we're not going to get real results. But it really is that power, that authentic intention that allows us to find those things in our lives that can become goals. It's
That's
just
awesome.
going back to Eckhart Tolle talking about, you know, what's your purpose? Well, what are you doing right now? That is your
Yeah,
purpose right
exactly.
now. And
Perfect.
then the things that happen in the world being our secondary
Right.
purpose.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
And that was yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah. And that's our wellness wake up this week, Skip.
That's right.
It's time for the quotable ponder.
Great. So our quotable ponder this week. God is just a name of the totality of existence. God is just a name of the totality of existence. Right now, I feel like we're living in a world where our identities and our labels are becoming really important to us. And as we progress and evolve and learn how to be more inclusive, I think that these labels and these identities are going to be something that we're wrestling with. And there's no
Yeah.
greater label or identity to kind of debate but that of God, right?
Mm,
What is God? And here we have set forth a definition. It's the totality of existence. The Tao might call it the 10,000 things, the
yeah.
10,000 sorrows, the
Yeah.
10,000 joys. But I think it's a call here to step back and again see that big picture rather than
Yeah.
seeing the white flowing beard, seeing
Yes.
something different.
I chose that quote today for us to ponder this week because of my experience here of Atlantic City, and seeing that idea that we do within our own ego construct. We have the good and the bad, and we say we want this, the desirable, we don't want the desirable. Well, when I was growing up as in high school, I was bullied.
Mm,
I was called all the racial slurs. I was called all the homophobic slurs, and I was demonized for who I was.
mm,
And I carried that energy with me for a long time. And I ran from Atlantic City because I didn't want to call it my home anymore. I felt very different, the other. So coming home, I realized that it was a good time for me to heal this energy. And this time I wanted to really heal this unforgiveness. I'm carrying around unforgiveness, and I am in control of my life. So I have to heal this if I want to move forward.
yes.
So I went for a walk, and I walked through the city, and I'm doing a walking meditation. I come across this beautiful urban community garden that had eggplants and tomatoes, and there was this whole collard greens and kale I had never seen before. And I started taking pictures with my iPhone. I started seeing this beauty of this town. I ended up on the boardwalk, as Atlantic City has famous boardwalks, and there was these moments, these nuggets of just God coming through, sunlight and all this thing. And I was overwhelmed with gratitude. And me walking home, I could see the beaches and the urban decay begin to come together. And I realized, oh, this is the totality of God. And then I had a
Mm,
realization, oh, the totality of my life, it is all good. It is all God. Even the part that I don't like, even the part where I was, going through a lot of pain, it's still a part of the God expression of who I am. So the totality of God is in all of us. It's in the good and the bad. I don't want to call it ugly, but it is there. So that's why I chose this
yeah.
quote for us to ponder this week. Brother Chad, I think it's time to
Yes.
bring in our guests. What do you think?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. You want to read the bio?
All right. Yes. So right now we've got one of my dear friends, Courtney Bennett, coming in. Courtney's a tarot reader and astrologer grounded in the philosophy of reciprocity and living in just relationship with all the beings of the universe. She's been reading tarot for folks since 2011, and she still finds the wisdom that comes out for each client to be astounding in its depth and relevance. As an astrologer, she primarily works with ancient astrological techniques from the Hellenistic tradition, but will also apply modern psychological ideas as relevant. One of her greatest joys is witnessing someone feeling the awe of being truly seen in their full spectrum. Plus, helping people believe in magic doesn't help her either. Outside of out of the esoteric world, I know I love that. Courtney is an actor and director with a focus on physical and classical theater, and she's someone I've worked with for many years, and I'm so glad she's here. So let's bring her
Yes.
on in.
Hey,
Hi.
Courtney. The reason I'm laughing, Courtney, did you hear his Shakespearean voice as he's reading your bio? He's like,
Yes.
oh, the Shakespearean voice.
Yes, I heard it. Yes, I did.
Welcome
Courtney,
to the
unfortunately, has
flow.
suffered through that voice before.
Welcome, sister. We just are very grateful for you to be here with us. How you living?
I am doing so great today. So glad to
Yeah.
be here. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Yes.
So in this idea of everything that's going on with all the different things and Halloween and all that, I've been following your Instagram. You have a beautiful babies. Is it babies, right? It's babies.
Yes.
And
Yes.
y'all love some Halloween dressing up, don't you? I'm watching the Instagram going, y'all dress up. Mama, as an actress, you get down with the creativity. How's that happening right now for you? And being in Macbeth, are you having time to do the dress up with the kids?
I'm really hoping to get into costume early on Halloween and at least walk around for an hour. That's my goal. My 5-year-old really understands Halloween now and really wants to participate. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to make it happen.
That's great. Yeah, Court, you've been working so hard, and you and I have known each other for a million years. Actually, Courtney and I knew each other back in elementary school when she was one of my sister's best buddies. So, and so we've kind of been able to grow up together. But in the spirit of the beginner's mind and starting anew, one of the first questions we like to ask people is just, who are you? And it's a very broad and vague question, but purposefully so. So who are you, Courtney?
Yeah, I know. I was pondering the answer to that question. And I was like, I mean, you can come at it from a lot of different ways. Like, who am I professionally? Who am I in relation to other people? Who am I at my deepest core self, right? And I was like, I don't know. So I'm going to go with professionally for now. And professionally, I am a professional voiceover artist. I'm an actor. I'm a theater creator. I am a tarot reader and an astrologer. I also lead seasonal celebrations with a group of people that connects us to the seasonal cycles of the earth. So I guess I'm a moderator of earth cycles.
Facilitator, moderator. Yeah, we like that.
Yeah.
We like that.
And ultimately, at the core of it all, I'm a teacher, and I've been teaching. That's the longest thing I've done. I've been teaching since I was 14. So I teach in everything I do. There is an underlying teacher element.
I love that. And what you're talking, for me, what I understand, because I've studied a little bit in ministerial school, we study pagan rituals, we study all forms of religion, because these are forms of spirituality. So some of the things that you facilitate, would they be like a pagan ritual? Would they be like tapping into the moon, and the moon is in the highest point there, and connecting with what we're feeling at the time? What are these rituals that you are facilitating?
Well, I'm hearing two different things at the same time from you, Skip. One thing is pagan, which the pagan belief system posits that there are multiple gods, right? But not necessarily planetary gods.
That's right.
Though they are often linked to that. And then I'm also hearing the astrology or planetary magic on the other end, which, harnesses the power of the planets and where they're located at the time, right? And I think in a sense, I don't consider myself a pagan necessarily. I guess I do. I don't know. I'm not a Wiccan, which I think the two are correlated often.
Right.
I stand more in an animistic belief point, which animism in and of itself is actually a racist term. So we have to recognize that and posit that at the same time, because it's based on the idea that people that believe in the concepts of animism are like animals themselves and are primitive. So knowing that, we can go ahead and use the word as it means, as that is the best word that we have at the time. And so, I think that everything in the universe has spirit, and I like to honor that.
One of the things I talk about in my book, and Chad, we've had this conversation. People ask me, "Who are you? What do you believe? Are you a Baptist? Are you this?" I was a Baptist upbringing. I am now a New Thought minister. I call myself a universalist, because I pull from the universe, and I believe that spirit is in everything. So I will read, and I'll read about pagan rituals. I'm going, yeah, I can get down with that. And then I know that when we're in retrograde, something's happening with me that I need to stop, be still, and just be, because I don't want to move forward. And so I am all that. Is this a part of your spiritual awakening? Did you awaken to this? I know I did. And what was your spiritual awakening like?
Yeah, I mean, I was even thinking about the term spiritual awakening as if before we were sleeping. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's actually better to reframe it as enlivening, because before I awakened, if you will, I had a worldview that assumed that most things around me were dead, that they didn't have the sense of spiritual aliveness that we as humans do. And so when I had like a tarot moment at one point in 2018, when I was like, maybe there is something more, because I was raised atheist actually from childhood. So any spirituality that I have discovered is through my own living and existing in the world. And when I discovered that, it wasn't that I woke up, it was that all of a sudden I was alive in a different, more intense, full way.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
There is a kind of I don't know if it's I like the word enlivening. I also this idea of being able to just see clearly again. This idea that that it's always been around us. Things have always been vibrating, things are always present, and it's just all of a sudden we see it. We kind of start vibrating in the same frequency.
And isn't that, Chad, waking up? Aren't you like waking up to something that's always been there? It's like I was asleep and now I'm awake.
Yeah, I think we're in a time too of Joseph Campbell, the great mythologist, talks about kind of creating our own mythologies, creating our own theologies. And of course, very conservative religious people get very angry at that, this idea of, relativism and there's no right or wrong, but really it's coming up with something. It's seeing past the veil in the way that's unique to you. And there's no right or wrong way to do that. Just as our quote said today, God being the totality of existence, the 10,000 joys, the 10,000 sorrows, that once we tap into that in our own unique way, there's no one out there that can tell us that's the right way or the wrong way to find ourselves, to find our own truth vibrating in the world. So I love this idea of enlivening, awakening. And there's another word that, Courtney, you can probably speak to, is quickening. Right? That's a word in nature, this idea of all of a sudden things are coming to life again.
A sense of energy, a lust even. Yeah. Like a desire.
And I wonder if you can go into that idea of nature, and because I know that you even for our wedding, Courtney was one of the officiants at our wedding. And
how many did you have?
Well, we decided that we were going to have like 4 officiants because we're the hippies, I guess.
Oh, Sharon, if you're watching, Sharon, that is so dope. I love it. Got 4 people to make sure it's done. Make sure it's done.
And what Courtney did, which I was so unique, and I've treasured it forever. She went out and bought these little crystals and put them on all of the seats. And during the service, she asked people to hold the crystal and to put all their good energy for Sharon and I's marriage in it. And we have that jar of crystals that we've carried from Little Rock to New York City to Michigan and now back to Arkansas. There's Sharon giving us a heart.
I was say your wife's alive with us right now. What's up, Sharon? You got it done. You made sure, yo.
So I wonder if you can talk just a little bit about your work in nature. That we've talked just a little bit about drawing energy from the moon in certain rituals, and if you could just speak to that a bit.
Sure. Well, before I had my spiritual awakening, I was a science teacher. My parents are scientists, and I understood the ecology of the world more than the invisible energies of the world for a long time. And so when I began to believe in magic, or have faith, if you will, that's when I started realizing that maybe the natural world in and of itself has power and is also worthy of my reverence and my worship in a sense. Did I answer the question? What is the question?
Yeah,
exactly?
no, you did. You really did. You talked about your influence of nature and what you do.
Yeah.
And the the other thing too is that because we're talking about Macbeth today as well, the idea of mysticism to the witches and your idea of using astrology as being what leads us and moves us and grooves us, how does that show up in your everyday life as well?
Yeah, well, when I started to really study astrology, it was a huge shift for me as a person. Because you can actually track, you can look back into your past and think, what was I doing at this moment, and compare it to the astrology and make direct correlations. Because the definition of astrology, I think, is misunderstood by many people in the modern world. There's an assumption that astrologers believe that the planets are making you behave a certain way, which is a debate. I won't say that no astrologers believe that, but
because retrograde, I feel the effects of retrograde, sister. Come on now.
Hey, so no, I agree that you are feeling something, but it is not Mercury itself that is making you feel that way, is what I would
Okay. Educate me, sister.
The definition of astrology from Chris Brennan, who is a really famous astrologer, is the study of celestial bodies' effect on earthly events. And so it's the idea that we are studying a correlation between where the planets are and what they're doing and what happens here on Earth. And if we come at it from that assumption, it's simply that the planets and where they are reflecting an energy that we are all swimming in. And who is controlling that energy? That's a phenomenon that no one knows the answer to. Maybe some would call it God, right?
Yeah.
And when I started to step into that world belief, it was a stunning revelation for me, because I have observed that astrology is true. And I believe in astrology. I mean, like I believe in biology or philosophy, right? It's a study. I believe that the study can be studied, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, it does make sense, yes.
But I love to hear that you feel a Mercury retrograde, right? And it affects you heavily every time. I already know stuff about your chart when I hear that. That means that Mercury is a big player in your natal chart, and that everything that Mercury does in the world is going to be felt more in your life than it would in somebody else's.
And also
because astrology is personal.
And when the moon is heading into full moon, I am just like, and it's not until the full moon is over am I feeling, kind of calm again. So I believe the influence of that in all that's going as well. So, and is this your purpose? Do you think you were here besides, because I want to talk about Lady Macbeth as well. Do you believe that you were brought here to teach us about all this? Is this your purpose?
Purpose is something I'm very interested in, and I can give you what I think in this moment, but it may be different next month. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Purpose is one of the reasons I find astrology so delicious, because we can see information about our purpose within the moment we were born. And each person, it's not a simple answer. Like us as humans, we're always trying to categorize everything so that we can understand it. But astrology is intensely complex. And so as I ponder the archetypes within my chart, I will make new discoveries all the time. I can say that, yes, being a teacher is part of my purpose. What am I teaching? That I'm not sure about. I mean, I'm teaching emotional health. I'm teaching people to express their emotions, that emotions are valid. And that's my work as an actor. Yeah. I also, I won't go into all the details of my natal chart, but I have a life of religious service built into my chart. Wow. And as someone who was raised atheist, that is a really important shift for me that I'm still stepping into. And I think the direction that I'm going for that is tied in with my interest in climate justice And that is, I think the solution to climate justice is in finding love, reverence, and reciprocity with the earth around us.
Oh,
So I guess that's my purpose, I guess, for now.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
That's great, Court. Well, I will say too, you know, having worked with you as a director and for many years, that having you on stage as a theater artist is also, even though that may not fall under an official title of teacher, I always think that our work as theater artists is teaching empathy at the same time. And
Yeah, and I've also always thought that the when you go into teaching, you're a storyteller. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end in a lesson. And that's the same that we're doing on stage. You know, we have to make sure the audience is with us. We're carrying them through the story just like a teacher does. And if a teacher isn't emotionally connecting with you, they're not going to actually teach you anything. So they're very similar.
yeah.
Has your work on stage changed since 2018, since you started to get into this?
You know, yes, I think it has. I think that it can't help but have changed as I have changed so much. And you know what I thought literally just came to me when you pointed out that it was 2018? Do you know what prompted this spiritual awakening? It was Macbeth. I was developing
Yes.
Macbeth for Shake on the Lake at the farm. We were doing a site-specific piece. And in my research about the witches, that is when all of these things started falling into place. How interesting. I hadn't realized that's right now in this moment. Interesting.
Okay.
But to go back to that's what I would call a synchronicity, an acausal event that we can't explain. And we would see that in the chart probably. But anyway, to answer your question, yes, my work has changed because I feel everything more now. And I am more free than I have ever been. And so that can't help but make me different as an actor.
Yeah. And even in the way that you approach your characters, like finding the signs of your characters in order to just get your head in there. We all have our process as actors, but I've heard you say that sometimes.
I did tell Chad. I think that Lady Macbeth is a Scorpio, obviously.
Oh my goodness, obviously. So, women, I got a question for you about Lady Macbeth. What has Lady Macbeth taught you?
Oh, I was just thinking about this. This is the first role I've ever played where when I leave my last scene, although we may have added a surprise for her, when I leave my last scene, it takes me a minute to shake out of that. Like, I think this is maybe the darkest role I've ever played. And so because of that, I have to dig into my shadow more deeply than I've been offered the opportunity to do in the past. Because I actually like digging into my shadow. It's not take me there anytime. That's fine. That's my Scorpio moon. But yeah, so that's something that's totally different about this role for me, is that when I walk off stage, I am shook. And it's going to take me a minute to come out of that.
Do you take her with you at home? Or do you have to leave her on stage? Do you take her home sometimes and your husband, your children going, Mama, leave Lady Macbeth at the theater, please?
1000%. My poor children. They're like, who is this Scorpio mom? We need our Cancer mom back. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's hard. When you're in a process that's as intensive as this, I am not that good at compartmentalizing it, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to take advantage, Chad. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to get a reading. Okay.
Yeah.
And hold me. I'm going to get a reading. So like I explained the very early part of the show, I am learning to surrender. But there is still this energy of this house that I've already signed a lease and the HOA has not approved me yet. And now it could be another 30 days. So my question for the cards and question for the universe, tell me what I need to know right now about this situation. I already know that surrender is the lesson, but there's something deeper here that I have not uncovered yet. And I would love the cards to tell me, what am I to really know a little bit more about myself?
First of all, let me commend you on your question for several reasons. One, super specific, Great job. We were already talking about specificity in the intro, you guys were. When you're specific, you can get a lot more information, clarity, and art, right? And then secondly, we're not looking for a yes or no answer. You did not ask me, am I going to be approved? Because yes or no answers are very difficult for symbolic language to speak, which the tarot is a symbolic language. So good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gold star for Skip.
Yes. Good job. So yeah, we'll just pull one single card for now, and we'll just see what is something for you to understand deeply about the situation right now, right? Because ultimately that's what you really want to know, right? You're wanting to uncover.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, and I just had another friend that had an extremely similar situation, and the HOA rejected her. And she was devastated because it was her dream home. And, you know, in her process of getting through that, she was having to come to terms with maybe that wasn't the best place for her, right? For whatever reason, even though in her heart of hearts at that moment, it was her biggest dream to live there, right? And so what is the gift in that rejection is one thing to consider too, if that were to come up. Although that's not an easy process and sucks at the same time. Okay, this is interesting. Oh my gosh, my ring light is making this my shiny card. Okay, so if you can see this at all, this is, I'm doing it wrong. Nope, this way. That's the 9 of Pentacles. And let's just look at this for a moment. Pentacles are coins, so this can be a financial situation that we're talking about, but coins is so much more than financial. And the 9 of Pentacles is a 9. When we're looking at 9s, we're looking at endings, right? So Skip, would you say that this has been a journey that you have been on for a long time to get to this home?
Absolutely, for sure. For sure.
And you've put in a lot of hard work, you've invested a lot, both of time, money, and energy, and you're kind of nearing the finish line.
Yeah.
And
the journey has been, I'm considering this journey as becoming a minister, which has been 10 and a half years. And then now we're looking at 11 and a half years since I started ministerial school to having my first pulpit appointment. And so that journey has been 11 and a half years. And this is reaching my first pulpit ministry.
Yeah. And when we're getting a 9, so sometimes in the journey of life, we'll hit a crisis point, right? And there is some sort of transition or ending there, but that's the 5s. We're at the 9s. The 9s is the finish line of this long journey you've been on. And if you can look at this card, you can see that this figure is collecting fruit because you have worked very hard to get here, and all the fruit is ready to be plucked. It is at its peak. Right? So this card in a key is self-reliance. Wow. There has been help that has gotten you to this place, but ultimately you did the work. Now you get to collect the bounty and you get to enjoy the fruit and share it as you will, because it is your fruit, right? And so when this shows up in relation to this idea of the HOA, you don't have to worry about these people. They're not going to ultimately decide your fate. It doesn't matter if they choose that you can't live there or not. What matters is that you can depend on yourself to solve this problem, and you will end up enjoying laying back, resting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Often, that really speaks to me. It speaks to me a lot.
Good. Yeah. And often not on this deck, but in many decks, the figure is laying back. They're resting in the vine, just like plucking the fruit or the coins sometimes. Like they've worked so hard for it and it's ripe there for the taking. So even though this may feel like this is very stressful, obviously it would be. You've already signed the lease. You're depending on this home, right? Ultimately, in the end, you've got all the fruit there to eat. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. It gives me permission just to relax in it. No matter, right now I have the Airbnb that's going to take me until the 18th of November. I can really move into this position with a place of, I am able to receive the fruits of my journey. This is the fruits. I feel like this is the fruits. And this move is part of that. Yeah. Yes, it speaks to me a lot.
Do you need any clarification? No?
No.
Great.
And I was kind of feeling that anyway. It's like I was hearing, relax, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Even whatever the outcome is, it's going to be okay. And just go with ease and grace tomorrow
Yeah.
and show up and just do what I was here to do. And
Yeah.
the
And
house is just incidental.
well, and it's incidental, but it's also one of the fruits. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's
Yeah.
also a fruit to serve you lessons and information to carry you into your work that you're moving into.
Wow. Chad, she's good, yo. She's like, I got God bumps all down my back right now, all over my body.
I love it.
Woo!
I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I knew you'd both get along like a house on fire. Yes, this is good.
Right on. Chad, one of the things I'm going to put you on the spot right now. What is your favorite thing of directing Courtney? What do you love about Courtney, and what's your experience of directing this beautiful soul that I'm in love with already now?
One of the biggest challenges of a director is not just telling a story. It's also putting your actors in a position where they can feel empowered and tell their best story. With Courtney, there's two things here. The greatest thing is that number one, she can take care of herself. And number two, she has zero ego when it comes to collaboration. And thusly, she will tell me the truth about what she's feeling as well. There was a time there's been times I've been working really hard, doing umpteen million things, and I'll send stuff to Courtney and say, just tell me what you think. And she will, because as I've told her before, I feel like she's a divining rod of truth. She's not going to lead me astray about what she actually thinks. And when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to getting to the truth of the character, the truth of a moment, it does take many different perspectives in order to get there sometimes. And Courtney's ability to take on notes, ability to take care of herself, and ability to go forward and try to extract the truth from every moment is one of the greatest gifts a director can get in an actress.
That's amazing. And I'm going to flip the script. Courtney, what do you love about Chad as a director? I hope it's all good. I've said just up and up.
Yeah, right.
Well, okay. Chad is a dear old friend. So know that is not what's flavoring the answer to this question. But I genuinely think Chad is the best Shakespearean director I have ever worked with. And I think I told him this. And I have been in quite a few plays at this point. I'm no spring chicken. And there's the reason is that often I think directors, when they handle the poetry of Shakespeare, even in a comedy, they treat it as this holy text that has to be dry. And Chad is never afraid to put all the spice and flavor and hot sauce on it. And what I mean by that is, okay, the play is called Tragedy of Macbeth. He's inserted a buddy comedy into it, right? So he's always mining for every joke that could possibly exist, which is extremely important in a tragedy. Because if you are feeling tragic for a solid 2 hours, your brain has to leave the room. It can't sustain that. And so he's always giving us peaks and valleys as an audience to like watch and involve ourselves. But also it's Chad's work as a musician that makes him so good at what he does. Because I don't know if you even talk about that you are a composer on the show ever. Do you, Chad? Does the audience even know that?
Can I tell you, he sent me 3 tracks for meditation that we're going to do a collabo on, because I do guided meditation. His music is phenomenal. I did not know. And he sent me 3 tracks last week. And did you get my email, brother? I'm like, hey, you loop this for like 12 minutes? I'm spitting. That's how excited I am. Please loop these 3 for 12 minutes so I can do a guided meditation. Yeah, he did not share all that stuff with me.
Yeah, for some reason, I always think Chad underestimates how magnificent his skill as a composer is, because not only does that make him understand and feel the text, which is rhythmic, of Shakespeare so potently, but also he is able to spin up music within the players themselves. So we have choral music in the show. I mean, I haven't been in a single Shakespeare show that he's directed that doesn't have music in some capacity within it as singers. There's usually music before the show, even like we're a band that tours together. But then also like he's a great sound designer and a composer, and all of that supports his vision in a way that is so compelling for the audience. So when you're an actor, you know that he is hearing it and also seeing it, not just what's happening on stage, but like the full vision of it. Like as a director, I direct sometimes too, and I always come at it from an acting coach perspective, which isn't great because it's so much more than that. And Chad is both an acting coach, but also he sees the full vision. And it's beautiful.
So final question for you both. And I've heard this from other people saying, yeah, I can't get down with Shakespeare. It's just like, I don't understand it. I don't like it. I'm afraid of it. I've heard that before. So first I'm going to go to Chad and then I'm going to go to Courtney. Chad, if someone said, I'm afraid of Shakespeare, what would you say to us to get us in there? And I'm saying us, because I've had my little thing about Shakespeare as well. There's some I like, there's some Shakespeare I don't. So
yes,
what would you say?
I would say come hang out with us for a little while, because there's such divine wisdom in so much of it. One of my favorite quotes I've said before it comes from Measure for Measure. Our doubts are traitors that make us fear the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. That's just 1500s talk for what Wayne Dyer says in The Power of Intention, right?
Right. It is.
There's some beautiful stuff in there, and it's really about using the techniques that you train for years doing as theater artist to bring out those beautiful moments. And so I'll say, and I think Courtney will back me up, there's just a lot of bad Shakespeare out there. There's just a lot. And so people just see it and they don't like it. And it's really, and that's not a judgment. That's just people not having access to the kind of training that allows the plays to really live, breathe, and work inside of you, because it's been poisoned by academia for so long that people think that it is literature, but it's not literature. It's life. It's a play. It's a play. And so you've got to play it, right? And so I'd be interested to see what Courtney thinks.
Yes, I fully agree. Come see our shows, first of all. Not to say that all the Shakespeare shows I'm in are good shows, because I have been in a lot. And okay, so one of the reasons I think that people have such a fear about not understanding what they're going to go see is because they have seen so many actors that don't understand what they're saying.
What? Wow.
It's because an actor translates it and gets a general idea for what the line is. And so then they kind of play the generality when you have to know exactly what every single word means, and every night live saying every single word, right? And I agree with Chad that there is some extremely important technique that you have to master as an actor to really be able to do that. But you have to understand every single thee, thy, everything in order to really, really communicate what it is that you're saying to the audience. And when they don't understand it, it's because what you're doing isn't right. It's not because they're dumb.
Right. That's key. It's our responsibility. If you've seen it bad, that's on us. That's not on you.
Powerful. Thank you so much, Courtney. It's been such a delight for you to be here on the show, In the Flow, here on the New Thought Media Network. So I don't know if we can do this. Can we hit that promo one more time before we're out of here, Diego? I'm not sure if we can do that.
Listen, it's Halloween. It's spooky season. It's time to come out and see a ghost story. And that's essentially what Macbeth is.
It's romantic. It's full of sword fighting is ghosts and murder and witches and mayhem and chaos.
Methought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more. Macbeth doth murder.
Always a great opportunity to see it again and see it through other people's eyes and to see it through the lens of today.
Nor heaven peeped through the blanket of the dark to cry, "Hold!"
If you want to come see a Shakespeare play that you're going to understand and get emotionally involved in, then this is the one.
Oh, I want to be in Arkansas right now. Y'all, I want to be there for opening night. Y'all, congratulations once again. Give us the information if someone's in the, is it Arkansas or Arkansas area?
Yes. You can go to centralarkansastickets.com, and that has all the show times, and you can purchase tickets. Tickets are always cheaper online, so get them online.
And you're running until when?
We open tonight. We run until November 7.
Okay, so we are actually taking a hiatus next week. We're going to run one of our previous shows that we've done, giving you a chance to get through this week and everything. Next week, we're going to be off and getting me a chance to get to Fort Lauderdale. So you can breathe a little bit. You don't have to show up for a show next Friday. But thank you. I appreciate it because y'all don't even know this is their opening night. And for the two of you to take time with me to talk about this, I am absolutely honored and grateful. And Courtney, where can people find you?
I'm most active on Instagram, so you can look up my handle, which is @starforaging, there on the screen.
Okay, so let me say this. And for me, it was like Star for Aging, I thought it was.
Yep. Nope.
But it's foraging. Okay, so thank you.
Right. Yes. If you are aging, this is still for you. So we can go ahead and layer that on there.
I love it, yes.
But yes, foraging and the concept of living and gathering the abundance that the universe offers us all the time. And then I also have a website, starforagingastrology.com. So,
okay, thank you for the clarification, y'all. And everything will be in the program notes again. Hey, guys, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. It's @RevSkipJennings. And you can take me home and not cook me breakfast. Let's go to my website, skipjennings.com, and you will find out more about my app, about my newest book, about the t-shirt line, the Awake Shop. You can sign up for my newsletter and find out more about Voices of Unity, another podcast I do on Tuesday on Unity Radio. And if you are interested in supporting this network, we invite you to please donate. Go to ntmedia.org/donate. And all this money that we collect here goes out to sharing this goodness to the world. Also, if you want to support Rev Skip on the move, you can go to Venmo and look for @RevSkipJennings. That's Venmo. But if you go to PayPal, it's Skip Jennings at skipjennings.com. So you can support what I'm doing as well. Yeah, this has been, again, an amazing conversation. Thank you so much, Courtney. We love you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And Diego, our great producer, we love you as well. And thank you so much for all the work you did. Everything so well today. Brother Chad, we get a week off. We get a week
hallelujah. Just get some of that rest. Pick some of those berries that were in that card. That's what I'll do.
That's what I'll do. So I will see you the next time. On the flip side, I'll be in Fort Lauderdale. So, and everyone, remember, transformation is a choice, and you can choose today. All right, until next time, peace and blessings, y'all.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode of In the Flow. If you enjoyed this programming, please help us spread this joy. Be sure and give this video a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. New Thought Media Network can be found on Facebook or our YouTube channel. Additional contributions are greatly appreciated at ntmedia.org/donate or find Rev Skip on PayPal and Venmo.
Visit the Awake Shop and help change the planet. 10% of all proceeds are donated to organizations that are making a difference. Go to awakeshop.org today.